My name is Jasmine, and I work as a freelance graphic designer. My sister Tina is 35 and married to Chris. They've got 4 kids: Liam, Chloe, Ethan, and Zara. Our mom, Denise, who's 62, has always had clear favorites and guests who didn't make the cut. For the last 8 summers, our family had a tradition of spending 2 weeks at Mom's beach cottage in North Carolina. It's a pretty spacious house with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a gorgeous ocean view. You'd think that would be plenty of space for a normal family get-together, right? Wrong. Every single year, like clockwork, Mom would call me around March and give me her usual line. "Jasmine, sweetheart, I'm so sorry, but there just isn't enough space at the beach house this year. Tina's family is so big now, and you know how the kids need their room. Maybe next summer, we'll figure something out." Meanwhile, Tina and her family were treated like royalty. Mom would spend weeks preparing for their visits, stocking the kitchen with their favorite snacks, buying brand new beach gear for the kids, and essentially rolling out the red carpet. They'd spread out and act like they owned the place. The worst part: it wasn't just about a vacation. It was 8 years of watching my mom go all out for Tina while treating me like an afterthought. Tina had married her college sweetheart, Chris, right after graduation, had 4 kids in 6 years, and somehow became Mom's golden girl. Chris works in sales and makes a decent income, but nothing extravagant. Still, they were always painted as the successful ones. I started my own graphic design business 4 years ago after getting divorced. I've worked long hours, sometimes 12 a day, just to grow my client list and keep my kids fed. But because I work from home and don't punch a clock, Mom always assumed I was jobless. Jasmine's still finding her way, she'd say at family functions. Tina enjoyed her stable life and never missed a chance to toss a little jab my way. "Must be nice to have such a flexible schedule," she'd smirk. The whole beach house thing was just the most obvious example of the favoritism. Each summer, I'd see Tina posting endless Instagram photos from her perfect vacation at Mom's house, the kids building Chris grilling on the deck, Tina sipping something tropical in the hammock. Meanwhile, my kids and I would be stuck at home, maybe visiting the local pool or watching movies. Last summer pushed me over the edge. I just landed my biggest client yet, a software company that hired me to revamp their entire brand identity. It was a 6-figure deal that could set us up nicely for the year. I was excited to share the news at Mom's birthday party in June. "That's wonderful, dear," Mom said when I told her, "Maybe now you can look into getting a more steady job." Tina chimed in, laughing, "Oh, come on, Mom, Jasmine just likes playing on her computer. She's not ready for a real career." I stayed quiet like I always did. Later that evening, while Mom gave her annual no room at the beach house speech, Tina twisted the knife. "You know, Jasmine," she said loud enough for everyone to hear, "maybe if you had a real job, you could afford your own vacation. The rest of us, shouldn't T have to give up our family time? Just because you haven't figured your life out yet?" Mom nodded. "Tina's got a point. Sweetheart, Chris works so hard, and those kids deserve a break. Maybe, when you're more settled, we can figure something out." I smiled and nodded, just like I had for the last 7 summers. "Of course I understand. I hope y'all have a great time." But inside, I was done. Completely done. That software contract was just the beginning. Word got out about my work, and soon I had more clients than I could handle. I raised my rates, got picky about who I worked with, and started building something bigger than just a solo business. By October, I had a steady enough stream of income to hire 2 employees. By December, I'd landed 3 more major clients. By February, I was looking for office space and planning to expand into digital marketing services. The money was flowing, but I didn't tell anyone in my family. I still drove my old Honda, lived in the same modest house, and dressed the way I always did. As far as they knew, I was still fooling around on the computer. Then came March, right around the time Mom usually gave me her annual speech. Instead of waiting for her call, I made an offer on a small beachfront resort about 2 hours from her beach house. It wasn't massive, just 12 rooms, a restaurant, and a private stretch of beach, but it was perfect. The previous owners had run it into the ground and were desperate to sell. I bought it at a huge discount and hired a management company to oversee operations while I focused on renovating. By May, the place looked brand new. I'd poured around $200,000 into upgrades, new furniture, remodeled rooms, a stunning infinity pool facing the beach, and a kids' play zone that could rival Disney. The restaurant now served gourmet meals, and the whole place looked like something from a luxury travel ad. I named it Shoreline Escape. It was beautiful, and it was all mine. We had a soft opening in June to test things out, and the reviews were amazing. Bookings were already filling up fast for the summer. Meanwhile, Tina was doing her usual social media thing, photos of the kids picking out swimsuits, Chris loading the SUV, and cheerful captions about their yearly family beach tradition. Then Mom called me in late June. "Jasmine, sweetheart, I'm so sorry, but I know, Mom. Not enough room. Don't worry, Nathan, Lily, and I already have other plans." "Oh, that's great, honey. Where are you going?" "Just a little spot I found. Nothing too fancy." The first week of July, I drove to Shoreline Escape with my kids. I booked us the best suite on the property, 2 bedrooms, a private balcony, and direct access to the beach. "Mom, this is amazing," Lily shouted as she ran through the suite. "Are we really staying here for 2 whole weeks?" "Absolutely. We spent our days on the beach, eating like royalty, swimming in the pool, and doing all the fun things. I'd arranged horseback riding, deep-sea fishing, kayaking. We'd never had a vacation like this before. Seeing my kids enjoy it made every dollar worth it. But the best part was still ahead. In August, I started making calls. First, I called Uncle Marcus and Aunt Carla, Mom's brother and sister-in-law. They'd always been good to me and my kids. Their 3 children were around Nathan and Lily's age. "Hey, Uncle Marcus, I'd love to invite you all to spend Labor Day weekend at my resort. It's on me, meals, activities, everything. Just a little thank you for being amazing." "Jasmine, that's so generous, but we couldn't possibly. I insist. I've had a really good year, and I want to share it." Then, I called my cousin Brian and his wife Samantha. They had 2 teenagers and had been struggling financially. "Brian, how about a long weekend at a luxury resort?" "My treat. I know it's been tough since Samantha lost her job, and I thought you could use a break." I reached out to Aunt Helen, my dad's sister, and her husband. I called my second cousins, the Diaz family, who didn't have much money but were always kind. In total, I invited 22 people, every relative who had ever treated me and my kids with kindness. I booked out the whole resort, hired a private chef, and arranged activities for everyone. I didn't invite Mom or Tina. Labor Day weekend was magical. Everyone was blown away by the place. "How did you pull this off?" they kept asking. "Let's just say it was a good year," I'd reply with a smile. That Saturday, Uncle Marcus pulled me aside. "Jasmine, this is unbelievable. Your mom must be so proud." "She doesn't know," I said casually. "What do you mean?" "I didn't invite her. Or Tina." He looked puzzled. But this is a family gathering. Except for the past 8 years, Mom has told me there est no room for me and the kids at her beach house. So this year, I made my own gathering. And funny enough, there's not enough room for everyone." Word spread fast. Everyone knew about the beach house situation. Some had even quietly asked Mom over the years why I was never invited. Monday morning, as people were packing up, my phone rang. It was Mom. "Jasmine, where are you? Marcus told me some wild story about you owning a resort." "That can't be true." "It's true, Mom." "Baho, you don't have that kind of money." "Apparently, I do." Jill paused. "I don't understand. Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you invite us? You always said there wasn't enough room at your beach house. Now, I'm telling you there isn't enough room at my resort. That's completely different. The beach house is what? Mom, not big enough for everyone." "Funny. Neither is my resort. But Jasmine, we're family." "Funny how you remember that now." I ended the call. 20 minutes later, Tina called. "What is wrong with you?" She snapped through the phone. Mom's crying her eyes out. "How could you do this to us?" "Do what, Tina?" "Host a family gathering. I figured you'd be thrilled. You always said I should be more successful. You know exactly what I mean. You left us out on purpose. Kind of like how I was left out with my kids for 8 years. That was different. The beach house really isn't big enough for everyone. And my resort really isn't either." "Funny how that works, huh?" "This is petty and spiteful. Jasmine, I thought you were better than this." "No, Tina. This is who I am. I am done being labeled the failure in this family when I've worked harder than anyone. I am done watching my kids be ignored, while you decide your family deserves more than mine." The next few weeks were intense. Mom called nearly every day, sometimes crying, sometimes furious, every time demanding answers. "Why are you doing this to us? This isn't how I raised you." "You're right, Mom. Families shouldn't treat each other the way you treated me these last 8 years. I never excluded you. There really wasn't room." "There was room, Mom. You just gave all of it to Tina. Every summer, you chose her family over mine, again and again. And don't pretend like my kids didn't notice. I noticed too, Tina tried a different tactic telling relatives that I was being cruel and punishing innocent kids over what she called a misunderstanding. But the family members who had come to the resort knew better. They'd heard the same, not enough space excuses for years. They'd watched me smile and stay quiet while I was pushed aside time after time. Uncle Marcus actually called Mom and told her straight up that she owed me an apology. Denise, Jasmine's been nothing but kind while you've treated her like an outsider. Now, she's thriving, and she's sharing that with the people who stood by her. Aunt Carla agreed. Tina's comments to Jasmine have always been so nasty. I've heard them myself. Jasmine has every right to celebrate her success however she wants with people who support her. Meanwhile, my resort was thriving. Word of mouth from Labor Day weekend had spread fast. Fall bookings were solid. I hired more staff, extended restaurant hours, and began planning winter upgrades including adding a full spa. My graphic design firm was booming too. The success of the resort gave me new confidence. I raised my rates, took on larger contracts, and my reputation in the industry soared. Nathan and Lily were thriving as well. They were proud of what I'd built. They could now enjoy things their cousins took for granted. But more importantly, they were learning that hard work does pay off and that being family doesn't mean accepting poor treatment. Thanksgiving rolled around, usually held at Mom's house. She called me in early November. Jasmine, I hope you'll join us this year. I know we've had our issues, but Thanksgiving's about family. Will there be enough space for everyone? Mom, of course. Don't be silly. Funny, your dining table only seats 8. Tina's family makes 6, and you and Dad make 8. So, where exactly do Nathan, Lily, and I fit in? We'll figure something out. We always do. Yell, like Tina's family gets the table, and mine gets folding chairs in the kitchen. No thanks, Mom. We'll sit this one out. You're being unreasonable. No, I'm finally being realistic about how this family operates. Instead, I hosted Thanksgiving at the resort. I invited Uncle Marcus, Aunt Carla, the Martinez family, and a few other relatives who'd always supported us. The chef made a beautiful dinner. There was room for everyone, and the kids played on the beach afterward. In December, Mom made another round of calls. Jasmine, I've been thinking maybe we could do Christmas at your resort this year. It'd be nice for the whole family to see what you've created. That's a lovely thought, Mom, but the resort's fully booked through New Year's. There's no availability. Surely you could make an exception for family. I could, if they treated me like family. What do you want from me, Jasmine? An apology. Fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you felt excluded from the beach house. I was just trying to accommodate everyone. No, Mom. You were accommodating Tina? There's a difference. She has 4 kids. I have 2. And somehow your math always said that 4 deserved more than 2. Mom ended the call by hanging up on me. Christmas morning. I spent time at home with my kids. That evening, we joined our extended family at the resort for dinner. 25 people were there, everyone who had ever shown us kindness. Except Mom, Dad, Tina, and her family. And it was the best Christmas I'd had in years. No backhanded comments about my job. No comparing presents. No pretending to be thankful for scraps of attention. Just amazing food, real laughter, and the people who saw how hard I'd worked. Standing on the resort's deck on New Year's Eve, fireworks crackling over the ocean, my kids by my side, I made a promise to myself. I would stop apologizing for my success. I would stop shrinking myself to make others comfortable. I had finally had enough of pretending the family's rejection didn't hurt. The truth was, I wasn't a failure. I was a self-made businesswoman who built something incredible. My children were proud of me. My real supporters saw what I was capable of. On New Year's Day, Mom called again. Jasmine, I want to make things right. What will it take? It would take you admitting that you treated me unfairly, that there was room at the beach house all along. Just gave it all to Tina. It would take you apologizing to my children for making them feel left out. I can't apologize for decisions I made in the best interest of the family. Then, we don't have anything else to discuss. You're really going to throw away our relationship over a beach house? I'm not throwing anything away, Mom. I'm just done pretending that blood is a reason to be treated badly. I'm done teaching my kids that family means accepting less than you deserve. It's been 6 months since I bought the resort. Business is booming. I'm expanding into a second property. My design business is now a full-service digital agency with 8 employees. Nathan and Lily are doing great, confident, joyful, and proud of their worth. They don't let anyone treat them as less than. Some relatives have tried to mediate between Mom and me. I'm not interested. I spent too long keeping the peace, brushing off the insults, and covering up the truth. That chapter is closed. Tina sent me a Facebook friend request last month. I declined it. Mom sends me articles about forgiveness and healing. I delete them without reading. June. The resort was completely booked through September. We had wait lists every weekend. Corporate groups scheduled retreats months in advance. The success was overwhelming. Nathan finished 4th grade with straight A's. Lily did great in 2nd grade. They joined the local swim team and made lots of new friends for the first time in a long time. They weren't asking why they didn't get to go to family gatherings or why Grandma seemed to like their cousins more. One night, while we had dinner on the resort's veranda, Nathan asked, "Hey Mom." Jack asked why we don't come to the beach house anymore. Jack was Tina's oldest son. He went to the same school as Nathan. I figured that conversation would come up eventually. "What did you tell him?" I asked. I said, "We have our own place now." He saw the pictures online and said it looked way cooler than Grandma's. I smiled. Our resort had a great social media presence, photos of activities, gorgeous sunsets, happy families. It wasn't meant to be petty. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good knowing Tina probably saw every post. He asked if he could come visit sometime, Nathan added. I told him I wasn't sure if his mom would let him. That stung. The kids weren't part of the drama. Jack had always been nice to Nathan and Lily. But I wasn't ready to open that door again. In July, Rachela, daughter of my cousin Brianna, announced her engagement. The wedding was set for October, and it would be the first major family event since everything had unraveled. Brian called me personally to extend the invitation. "Jasmine, I know things are rocky with your mom and Tina right now, but Rachel really wants you there. You've been so kind to our family, and she considers you one of her favorite aunts. Will Mom and Tina be there?" "You see, it's a family wedding, but Rachel specifically asked me to make sure you knew how much she wants you to come." Jill told me, "If anyone deserves to celebrate with family, it's Aunt Jasmine." I took a week to think it over. Richa had always been sweet to me and to my children. She didn't deserve to have her special day overshadowed by unresolved drama. "I'll be there," I told Brian. "But I'm bringing security, just one person. Simona makes sure nothing got out of hand if Tina decided to stir the pot." The wedding was stunning. Rachel looked radiant, and the vineyard about an hour outside the city made the perfect setting. I arrived with Nathan and Lily, both dressed to impress. I'd bought Lily a gorgeous navy dress and Nathan a sleek little suit. They looked right at home among the upscale crowd. Mom spotted us during the cocktail hour and approached cautiously, unsure of how I'd respond. "Jasmine, you look lovely. The kids have grown so much." "Thank you. How have you been?" "I've heard the resort is doing really well." "It is." I didn't offer more. After a few uncomfortable seconds, she tried again. "I've been thinking about what you said last Christmas. Maybe we could talk soon." "Maybe." Tina showed up behind her, clearly not thrilled to be there. "Hi, Jasmine. D&T. She looked toward my kids, who were chatting with second cousins by the appetizer table. "They look nice." "They do." The conversation was stiff, unpleasant. Other relatives slowly joined the circle, clearly hoping we'd resolve years of tension right there in the middle of a wedding. But I was done playing that role, making everyone else comfortable while I swallowed my pain. At dinner, I noticed something surprising. Our place cards had me and my kids seated at the main family table right between Uncle Marcus and Aunt Helena's families. Mom and Tina were placed at another table, along with Tina's husband and kids. Rachel had made a very intentional choice, and it didn't favor Mom. Later in the evening, while people were dancing, Rachel came over to me. "Aunt Jasmine, thank you so much for being here. I know things are awkward with Grandma Denise right now. This day isn't about family tensions. I'm here to celebrate you. I just want you to know what you did with that resort weekend was incredible. My dad still talks about it. It was honestly the best trip we ever took. I'm glad you all had fun, and I want you to know I see how hard you work. I see what you've built. Not everyone in the family gives you the credit you deserve, but some of us really do." Rachel's words touched me more than she probably realized. Here was a 24-year-old woman showing more maturity and empathy than many twice her age. As the night wound down, Tina caught me alone near the bar. "We need to talk," she said, clearly buzzed. "No, we don't." "Yes, you do. This has gone on long enough. You're tearing the family apart." "I'm not tearing anything apart, Tina. I'm just not letting myself get mistreated anymore." "Oh, mistreatment? You're being dramatic." 8 years. Tina. 8 years of being told there wasn't room for my kids at family vacations. 8 years of hearing you make snide comments about my job and my life. 8 years of watching my kids get sidelined while yours got the royal treatment. Those weren't attacks. I was just being honest about your situation. My situation, the one where I raised 2 kids on my own while building a 6-figure business from scratch. That situation." Her face turned bright red. "You act like you're so accomplished now. But where was all this money when we were growing up? Why didn't you have a steady job back then? Because I was building something better than a steady job. I was building a business. I was investing in a future instead of settling for good enough. 5. I have a good husband and 4 healthy kids. And I'm happy for you. But that docentee give you the right to treat me like I am less than you, just because I took a different path. Tina glanced around nervously, making sure no one was watching, then leaned in closer. You want to know the truth? Mom was trying to protect you. She knew you couldn't afford to contribute to vacation costs the way Mike and I could. She didn't want to embarrass you. I stared at her. Tina, I offered to pay every year. Every year I told Mom I'd chip in food, utilities, whatever she needed. She'll never ask me for a dime. That's not how I remember it. That's because you were never in those conversations. You assumed I was broke because it made you feel better about pushing me out. Just then, Marcasek, the guy I'd hired for event security, stepped up beside me. I'd asked him to keep an eye on things and step in if things got heated. Everything. All right, Miss Jasmine? Tina's eyes widened. You actually brought security to a wedding? I brought insurance against drama, and I think it was worth every penny. I walked away before she could answer. Monday morning, after the wedding, my phone rang. It was Uncle Marcus. Jasmine? I heard there was a little tension at the wedding. Are you okay? Unfi, Uncle Marcus. Tina had a few drinks and decided it was time for a deep talk. Brian told me you handled it well. He also said you brought security. Just a precaution. I wanted Rachel to enjoy her wedding without worrying about anyone causing a scene. Oh, honestly. Smart move. I might steal that idea for future events. His comment made me laugh, but it also made me think maybe I was in tea, the only one tired of tiptoeing around certain family members. By October, I was actively searching for a second property. My business partner, Robert Chun, a hotel management expert who reached out after hearing about Seaside Haven's success, found a promising mountain resort in North Carolina. Mountain View Lodge was a 20-room property with a spa, meeting rooms, and scenic hiking trails. It was in foreclosure and needed serious work, but it had huge potential. This could be the flagship for an entire chain, Robert said as we toured the property. Seaside Haven proves you understand the luxury family market. This place could attract corporate retreats and spa weekends. I made an offer that same week. While lawyers worked on the deal, I focused on the holidays at Seaside Haven. We were fully booked from Thanksgiving through New Year's, and our Christmas 2026 waiting list was already long. Then came the new familiar November call from Mom. Jasmine, I want to try something new this year. What if we had Thanksgiving at Seaside Haven? I'll cover everyone's rooms. It could be a fresh start. The resort is fully booked. Mom, couldn't you make a few changes? Cancel a reservation or two? I am not turning away paying guests to accommodate people who spent years treating me like an afterthought. I'm trying to make this right. No, you're trying to make it convenient. That's not the same thing. What do you want from me? I want you to say you were wrong. I want you to acknowledge you played favorites. I want you to apologize to my children for making them feel like they didn't belong. I never meant for them to feel that way, but they did. Intent doesn't cancel out the damage. There was a long pause. I don't know how to fix this, Jasmine. Maybe you can't. Some things break beyond repair. I don't accept that. Then you're going to be disappointed. Mountain View Lodge opened that March with a soft launch for friends and family. I invited the same group from the original Labor Day weekend, along with a few more relatives who had shown support. The place was beautiful after the renovations. We turned it into a high-end wellness escape, with a 5-star spa gourmet restaurant, guided hikes, yoga sessions, and wine tastings. Uncle Marcus and Aunt Carla were among the first to arrive. Jasmine, this place is incredible, Carla said as we relaxed in the spa lounge. 2 years ago, you were worried about keeping the lights on, and now you own 2 luxury resorts. Hard work pays off, I said with a smile. It's more than hard work, she replied. You have vision. You saw potential where others saw problems. That evening, we gathered for dinner at the Mountain View Lodge's restaurant. Uncle Marcus stood to make a toast. I'd like to say something about Jasmine, he began. 2 years ago, some folks in this family thought she was just trying to figure things out. They were wrong. She was building. She was creating something amazing, while the rest of us stayed comfortable doing what we've always done. He raised his glass. To Jasmine, who proves that success isn't about following someone else. Map it is about having the courage to draw your own. Everyone lifted their glasses, and I felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the wine. A week after the Mountain View opening, Tina called me. Her voice was softer, this time less defensive, more tired. Jasmine, can we talk? Really talk. Not like at the wedding. What do you want to talk about? I want to say I'm sorry. That surprised me. I've been thinking about what you said at Rachel's wedding about the vacation expenses and mom never letting you contribute. I called her and asked. She admitted that you did offer to pay every year. She said she just thought it was easier to have one family there. Easier for who? That's what I asked her. She didn't have a real answer. Tina was quiet for a beat. I also asked her why she always made those comments about your job not being real. She said she was worried about your financial future and thought she was encouraging you to find something more stable by insulting what I was building. I know it doesn't make sense, but I think she truly thought she was helping. And what do you think, Tina? Another pause. I think I was jealous. Jealous of what? Of your freedom. Your creativity, the fact that you were building something from nothing, that was totally yours. Mike and I, we've got a good life. But it's predictable. Same routine, same trips, same everything. You were doing something exciting. So instead of supporting you, I tried to convince myself that it wasn't real success. It was just easier than facing the truth that maybe I was playing it too safe. It was the most honest conversation we'd ever had. I'm sorry, Jasmine, for the jabs about your career. For backing mom when she left you out, and for making you feel like you didn't measure up. You did. You always did. Thank you for saying that. Is there any way we can start over? Now go back to what we were, but start something new. I thought about it, maybe. But things would have to be different. I'm not going back to being the person who gets the least just to keep the peace. I understand. And I respect what you've built. Both businesses are incredible. Thank you. Would it be okay if I brought the kids to visit Seaside Haven sometime? Not for a family obligation, just as guests, like anyone else, paying for a stay. I'd be happy to have you all as guests. But Tina, things are different now. I know. And honestly, maybe that's a good thing. People always say blood is thicker than water, but I've learned that's not the full truth. The complete saying is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The bonds we choose, the relationships we nurture, often mean more than the ones we're born into. I chose to build a life, a business, and a community with people who respect me. I stopped accepting less just because someone shares my DNA. Some might say I was being vindictive, maybe even petty. But after 8 years of hearing there wasn't room for me or my kids, I created something extraordinary. And you know what? There's always room when you build your own table. Mom's beach cottage had space for 8 people. My 2 resorts now accommodate 96 guests and employ 43 staff members. Tina was right about one thing. Having a real job does let you afford your own vacation. And sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply living well. As I write this, it's been 3 years since I bought Seaside Haven. Mountain View Lodge is booked out through next summer. I'm scouting a 3rd property in Colorado. My design agency now has 15 employees and serves clients nationwide. Nathan is 11 now and already dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur like me. Lily, now 9, wants to be a chef and work at one of the resort restaurants. They're confident, joyful kids who know their worth and don't let anyone treat them like second class. Mom and I have had a few conversations this past year. She's trying to understand how her actions hurt me. I'm working on forgiving her. It's a slow path, but at least we're walking it together. Tina and I have found a new kind of relationship. We're not as close as we once were, but there's mutual respect now. Her family stayed at Seaside Haven last summer, and it was a genuinely great visit. No snide comments about my work. No quiet jabs about money. Just 2 families enjoying a vacation. Our family dynamics have changed forever. I'm no longer the one in need of help. I'm the one employing others, giving back to the community, and standing tall in what I've built. And most importantly, I've stopped settling. I built my own peace, and it's beautiful. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's standing tall in your truth, refusing to shrink for anyone's comfort, and creating something so powerful that others have no choice but to admire it. So when someone tells you there's no room for you, go build your own space, then build another one. Then build an empire. Because once you have the blueprint, there's always enough room.